Harbor Hill stood 378 feet above sea level. Its rooftop offered panoramas to the east of rolling landscapes to the Dix Hills, to the north, across the Long Island Sound toward Westchester County and Connecticut, to the west, the looming towers of New York City, and to the south beyond Freeport and across the breadth of Long Island, to the Atlantic Ocean sprawling toward Europe. From the moment the site was purchased by John William Mackay as a wedding present for his new daughter-in-law, through construction of the main house and afterwards, Harbor Hill and its occupants remained in the public eye. In particular, the cost of the project, designed by Stanford White of the firm of McKim, Mead & White, elicited comment. Rumors flew, especially about the ultimate expenses, which reputedly ran as high as $6 million. In fact, completing the house, its grounds, and its outbuildings came to just a fraction of that amount, but the total still staggered all but the very richest of the rich. No one took a greater interest in this subject than the man paying the bills, John William's son, Clarence Mackay. Early on in the construction of Harbor Hill, the architect wrote to his client, "You must acknowledge that in the end you will get a pretty fine chateau on the hill, and with the exception of Biltmore, I do not think there will be an estate equal to it in the country." In White's opinion, his mansion for the Mackays would compare favorably with Richard Morris Hunt's recently completed French Loire Valley chateau, built for George Washington Vanderbilt in Asheville, North Carolina. White was known for his hyperbole, but this prediction was accurate indeed. Harbor Hill became both a standard setter for the Long Island Gold Coast and one of the most opulent structures ever built in the United States. When the house was completed in 1902, the costs, all told, came to some $830,000, roughly $20 million in today's dollars, and that was just the beginning. A great deal more would be spent in the ensuing years, both on modifications to the house and on the extraordinary collection of art and antiquities the Mackays amassed. From the start, Harbor Hill had detractors as well as admirers. Local newspapers publicized the complaints of local residents who were now banished from what had been a favored picnic site. House Beautiful magazine derided Harbor Hill in an article titled, "The Poor Taste of the Rich." Architectural Record called the mansion grandiose and pretentious, pointing to it as an example of the sacrifice of taste for stunning effect. By and large, however, Harbor Hill drew awe and praise from architectural writers and critics. Even as late as 1938, newspapers extolled Harbor Hill as one of the most beautiful, most spacious, most completely equipped country places in America. Likewise, the Clarence Mackays themselves lived with intense public scrutiny and judgment. The son of a penniless Irish immigrant who had transformed himself into one of America's wealthiest men, Clarence Mackay and his bride found themselves featured on society pages and in gossip columns throughout their conspicuous and ultimately disastrous marriage. Their way of life provided a wealth of material for both adoring and damning social and cultural commentators and critics. The power of ownership and the country house. Harbor Hill reflected the confidence of a period of unprecedented American affluence and acquisitiveness. The agony of the Civil War and its aftermath had receded, and the country was enjoying a heady new atmosphere of robustness and self-certainty fueled by massive economic growth. People with fortunes made through canny investments in railroads, the telegraph, textiles, banks, oil fields, silver mines, and department stores now had unprecedented riches to display. The writer Henry James summed it up. Acquisition, if need be on the highest terms, may, during the years to come, bask here as in a climate it has never before enjoyed. There was money in the air, ever so much money. That was, grossly expressed, the sense of the whole intimation. The period has been characterized variously as the Gilded Age, the Robber Baron era, and the Age of Excess. Revealing a certain self-satisfaction and a desired prominence in Western history, some who enjoyed it most called it the American Renaissance. Along with tremendous amounts of new money came a need to spend, which would affect several generations to come. John D. Rockefeller, Cornelius Vanderbilt, and John William Mackay made the initial fortunes, and while they did spend sizable sums, it was their children and in some cases their grandchildren who really caught the acquisition bug. One defined oneself during the Gilded Age.